Well, hello again, everybody. This is Koopafantasy. It's been probably close to 2 weeks since I made a video. Sorry about the delay, but I'm going to make some videos covering the preseason action that's been going on. It's been kind of tough thinking of something to write about and make a video on. But with all the preseason action going on, I've decided to recap the games, talk about some of the guys who've really shown some good capabilities on the field. Preseason, as you guys all know, is a lot of backups, third, second stringers. So I'm gonna try to stick with the first stringers and the limited action they do see. Talk about what they showed. I'm gonna go back and do last week's games first in this video, and then afterwards, hopefully right as soon as this video is over, I will be able to cover this week's, the ones that have happened so far. So I'm going to try quickly to go through all of last week's games. Just have to bear with me for 1 second while I get ready here. Alright, these are the games from August 13th. First one is Browns and Packers. Colt McCoy looks pretty good. He went 9 of 10, 135 yards and a TD. He looked good at the end of last season for the Browns. He got them some good wins. He nothing like no all-star really qualities to him. He knows how to win games. He doesn't throw the game away. He's definitely a good choice as a backup or something like that. And actually, just his most recent week, he threw 3 TDs, which will be in the next week's video. Uh, Joshua Cribbs looked pretty good. He had a pretty nice TD catch, which he's not known for his hands by any means. He's known for his returns. But since this new change, the return rule, where they put the ball on the 35-yard line instead of the 30, kickers are given touchbacks almost every kick now. So Cribbs looks to be expanding his repertoire. And there's a rookie wide receiver, Greg Little, now for Cleveland, and he has looked great for them so far. He had a couple quick early game catches from Colt McCoy. He got 20 yards, a couple first downs. And tight end Ben Watson, he also looked good in the effort. He had 2 catches for 37 yards and 19 respectively. For the Packers, Aaron Rodgers didn't play, but the little bit of time he did play, he looked great. He was 6 of 8, 74 yards, threw a TD to Greg Jennings, his TD hawk. Greg Jennings, like I said, continued his role as a TD machine. He hauled in a 21-yarder from Jennings. Driver had a 31-yard catch that helped set up that TD. And I don't know, a side note, in the opening piece of the game, 18 players caught a catch for Green Bay. James Starks only had 2 carries, but he made them count. He got 13 yards, whereas Ryan Grant was only able to get that many on his 3 carries. So that's it for that game. Aaron Rodgers looked great. Greg Jennings looked great. Colt McCoy was looking pretty good. The tight end Ben Watson looked good. This new rookie Greg Little, remember that name. Keep your eyes on him. I'll move on to the next game. Panthers. Cam Newton, his first appearance for them. He led them to a pair of field goals. He was 8 of 19 for 134 yards. His accuracy wasn't spectacular, but he showed some good arm strength, as he had a couple of passes of more than 30 yards, and he threw I think he had a pretty long TD pass at one point. Tight end Greg Olsen looked great. He had 3 catches, 58 yards. He was an early and favorite of Cam Newton, and I expect that to be a common thing this year. Cam Newton looking for Greg Olsen. He's a great ball catching tight end. The running game was pretty effective. D'Angelo Williams had 23 yards, only 4 carries. Jay Stu had 12 yards on 2 carries, and Mike Goodson had 30 yards on 8 carries. That's quite the trio they've got there. It's going to be hard to say who's going to be the bell cow for them. It's obviously looking to be Angelo Williams and Jay Stu sharing again, with Mike Williams kind of filling when needed. For the Giants, Eli Manning didn't see a whole lot of game time, but he didn't look particularly good either. He was 4 of 9 for 36 yards, didn't lead his team to a score. Ahmad Bradshaw and Brendan Jacobs looked alright, as they each had a 16-yard run. They only had 5 and 3 carries each, respectively. Hakeem Nicks, Mario Manningham weren't on the field very much, which allowed 6-year veteran Dominic Hickson to kind of show off. He had 86 yards on 5 catches. Giants defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul. If all you pay attention to is fantasy, maybe you don't know Jason Pierre-Paul. This guy was a really raw player last year, but he has developed a lot, and this guy is going to be a beast. Jason Pierre-Paul for the Giants, the DE. Remember this guy. He's gonna be sacking some people this year. Moving on to Chicago Bears and Buffalo. The Bears, Cutler didn't play for very long, but it was a lot of the same as last year. He was running around. His O-line was weak. He got sacked a bunch. It was just a rough day for Cutler. He left the game with 0 yards. I think he had 1 attempt, 1 completion for 0 yards. He had a 10-yard scramble because that's what he does. He had to scramble. It was pretty rough for him. Matt Forte didn't see a lot of action. His own site was Khalil Bell in there. He rushed 13 times for 74 yards against Bill backups, so not bad for him. Not much else to really talk about from the starters from them. The starters were all pulled early. Roy Williams didn't see a target. Knox and Hester weren't used very often. The Bears, little side note here, they ignored that kickoff rule I talked about, and they lined it up at the 30 instead of the 35 so they could work on their coverage unit, which is kind of funny. Moving on to the Bills, Ryan Fitzpatrick looked pretty good. He was 7 of 9, pretty accurate, 44 yards. Fred Jackson only saw 3 touches, but 18 yards, so 6 a carry. TJ Spiller only had 2 carries, so didn't really see a lot of action. To me, Fred Jackson's the running back who's going to be seeing a lot more use this season. He's experienced. He's a great runner. I think he's underused. So Fred Jackson hopefully is going to be the bell cow for Bills this year. Steve Johnson got in there for a little bit. He had 3 catches, 15 yards, nothing big, but at least he's getting his hands on the ball. I'm expecting some pretty good things from him again this year. The Bills' defense looked good. Granted, it was Chicago. Everybody looks good against Chicago. They had 9 sacks against the Chicago offensive line. Sean Merriman, he had 2 sacks. Some recent stuff in the news him about steroid use, though, so you might want to read into that. So Rams and Colts. Sam Bradford looked pretty damn good in his 4 drives. He led his team to 17 points, including a TD pass to tight end Lance Kendricks, who's a rookie, and I think is going to be a good weapon for him this year. He could be a good pickup at tight end if you're looking for a sleeper or something. Their new backup running back, Cadillac Williams, had 40 yards and 11 carries. He's the backup to Stevie Jackson, their absolute workhorse. People have actually asked me recently what they think about Stevie Jackson this year. I think he's going to be a beast again. 1,000 yards, 10 TDs is very, or not 10 TDs. 1,000 yards is very, very likely. He hasn't gone under that in a while. TDs has been his problem, but to me that's because the offense in general has been lacking. But with a more balanced offense this year in St. Louis, I could see them having longer drives, more success on third downs, and creating more scoring opportunities as a team in general, which will help Stevie Jackson get more than 4 or 5 TDs, which he's been stuck with lately. Like I said, the most impressive was probably Lance Kendricks, who caught a TD to go with 57 yards. Denario Alexander finished with 3 catches for 43 yards. Mike Sims-Walker didn't play for them. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in action. The Rams secondary is greatly improved from last year. They jumped all over sloppy play from Manning's backups. They had 3 interceptions. Josh Brown, the kicker for St. Louis, was perfect. He was 4 for 4, including a 60-yard bomb and a 53-yard bomb. So Josh Brown, this guy's a good kicker. He was good last year towards the end of the season. He got a lot of ads, and he'll probably have a lot of pickups this year. Josh Brown for St. Louis. All right, Colts. Peyton Manning did the suit up, so here it doesn't really matter what we talk about. His backups, they're not very good anyways, and Peyton Manning has never missed a game in his career, so I don't see it happening anytime soon, despite the rumors of neck injuries. So Peyton Manning didn't play. Not going to talk about the QBs. Joseph Adai saw 1 carry. He went for 2 yards. Third-year Donald Brown had 4 carries for 21 yards. I got no faith in this Donald Brown character. They had a free agent, Darren Evans, they picked up. He had 8 carries for 52. With Colts, to me, it's going to be Joseph Adai getting the carries for them this year. He's experienced. He's been with the team for a while. I don't know who else they're going to use unless they start plugging in young guys, because this Donald Brown guy is showing no signs. Wide receiver Pierre Garçon showed how much talent he has at times by making a very impressive 41-yard catch along the sidelines. He had to fully extend himself, lay himself out, do a little backflip when he landed. It was very impressive. Pierre Garçon, the guy's got mad talent. He just needs to be more consistent. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans. In a battle of 2 rookie QBs, it was Jake Locker who impressed, that's for sure. He was 7 of 10 for 89 yards and a 45 TD pass. Jake Locker, yeah, that was Jake Locker. Chris Johnson did not play. He's not signed yet. Maybe he is by now. 4th-year wide receiver Yamon Figurs who has blistering speed. He hauled in at the TD catch from Locker. This guy's got wheels. Rob Baronis missed a 38-yard field goal. I thought that was kind of weird. Maybe he's missed a step lately. Rob Baronis. He was a beast a few years ago. Not so much that game. For the Vikings, Donovan McNabb. He struggled a bit, but he's still getting used to the team. It's McNabb. He's going to be their starter. He's probably going to have a decent season. Joe Webb came in. McNabb was 6 of 11 for 40 yards. Ponder eventually came in, and he was all right. He went 8 of 13 for 84 yards, but it was definitely Jake Locker's day today. Adrian Peterson didn't really play. I think he had 1 carry for 3 yards. 4th-year RB Alonzo Booker had 79 yards on 9 carries and 3 catches, so not bad for him. Vikings, they were playing all their backups pretty much, spreading the ball out. So originally, don't take much consideration into what happened to them. So I'm just going to talk about some of the more notable players from these days' games. Players who look good to me were Jake Locker, Aaron Rodgers, Colt McCoy, Greg Jennings, Josh Brown, Jason Pierre-Paul, Sam Bradford, Lance Kendricks, Greg Olsen. They all look good, showing signs that they're going to be good fantasy players again this year. Guys who struggled were Eli Manning, Chicago's O-line, and Jay Cutler, and Rob Bronis, kicker. Players who look okay, like not great, but nothing really too bad, were Cam Newton, Christian Ponder, Greg Little, Ben Watson, Donovan McNabb, Matt Hasselbeck, Cadillac Williams, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fred Jackson, Ahmad Bradshaw, and Brandon Jacobs. And now I'm going to list some players who had really good games, but that may be because of the opportunity they're getting right now. So these are guys trying to make a name for themselves, trying to establish themselves. These are not really very viable guys at the moment in Fantasyland. Darren Evans, Lorenzo Booker, Yamon Figurs, Keith Toston, and Khalil Bell. For some reason, I mistyped Pierre Garçon in here. He should be up in the looked okay section from his one really big catch. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching this video. I would like to go through the other games from that week, but I don't really think I'm going to have time in this video. I'm already looking at an 11-minute video right now. So if you stuck with me for this whole video, I appreciate it. This is Koopafantasy. You can watch all my other videos on the side or whatever, whichever side it's on. Go to my blog, koopafantasy.wordpress.com, if you want to read the articles. Instead of just having me quickly blur it all out to you, you can go there and read it, get it all in depth. I'd love to have feedback from you. Subscribe, like, do whatever you like. Go to my blog, rate, comment the videos. Whatever you do, I appreciate it, guys. I seriously do appreciate it. It makes me feel like I'm doing something at least somewhat worthwhile. Like I said, thank you very much. Koopa Fantasy, koopafantasy.wordpress.com. Thanks, guys.